The path lies before you. Not every journey begins with a map. Some begin with a question. Your path leads to somewhere, but where? Today you are the wanderer, not lost, just somewhere in between, leaving something behind, embracing what's to come. Whether you're just setting out or already walking the long road, let's see what the cards have to say about your path. Before you are 3 versions of the Fool, each carrying a different spirit of beginning. The Fool is the traveler of the soul, a dreamer stepping into the adventure, a symbol of bold trust and new beginnings. Which one reflects who you are today? Trust this instinct. Choose the wanderer who feels like you. The reading will unfold using the deck connected to your choice. Have you chosen your Fool? The path is ready. When you are ready, follow the link in the description to begin your reading. Let's see what you're walking away from and what glimmers just ahead. This Fool is a youthful figure in mid-motion, almost dancing rather than stepping forward. Immediately you can tell that he has childlike qualities. This could be your inner child wanting to step into this journey. This is a Fool who's not reckless, but he's dynamic and he's ready. A bright yellow sun dominates in the background, radiant, nearly surreal. Mountains rise behind him. The journey ahead or challenges yet to come. But the scenery is vibrant and green, inviting and lush. The little dog leaps beside him, smaller, more whimsical than in some other decks. A spirit helper dancing at his side, looking at him. The sky blends night and day. This is a liminal space, dreamlike, full of transition. He's not stepping off the cliff. He's stepping into life. The world behind him is vast, mysterious, and beautiful. And here, something unique. Crystal at his feet. This could be a sign of intuition or of being grounded. And maybe it's a sign that there is resources already present. He's not starting from nothing. He's already rich in some way. He just doesn't know it yet. Let's spread your cards. I will explain the positions as I turn the cards. Let's begin. The first card that we are going to turn is the card of the present moment. It gives insight on the current situation and speaks about things that are in your heart at the moment. Your first card is the Four of Swords. This card is traditionally a card of rest and rejuvenation, And that interpretation is especially pronounced in this card. There seems to be a traveling caravan in the card, and there are 4 swords laying at the beautiful mat. This card reflects a moment where you need to stop and pause for a moment. Not to hinder your journey, but rather to have a meaningful break, after which you are stronger and more rested to go onwards. Remember to give you meaningful time off to rest and recover before your next step. The next card is the crossing card. This speaks about obstacle in your way. 7 of Cups usually speaks about choices, ideas, new prospects, inspiration, and perhaps imagination. But in this card, in this deck, it seems that this is overwhelming. Perhaps you have too many choices where you can pick, too many paths, too many projects in your life. Perhaps you've spread yourself a bit too thin, agreed to take part in too many projects, or otherwise accumulated so many ideas and so many possibilities that it can be just a tad overwhelming. But that's okay. You might have to pick and choose, and perhaps cancel a few things, even if it might bring a small disappointment to those who have already agreed. But a minor obstacle, not a major clash. Let's look at your next card. Your next card is the crowning card, and this speaks about things in your mind, your aspirations, and it reflects about your higher self. Your card is the Lovers, and this is a lovely card in this position. It speaks about yearning for balance, yearning for harmony, completion, yearning to be loved and give love in return. In a word, I would say that your motivations are pure and good. You are guided by your higher self and moving towards harmony. Let's turn your next card. Your next card is your shadow or subconscious. It speaks about things that you don't want to integrate into yourself. So let's have a look of this more shadowy side of your path. Your card is the Two of Swords. Traditionally, this card speaks of choices, but in this deck, I would say that this is a card of loneliness. She is sitting in the moonlight by a peaceful lake, but she is alone and contemplative. A cat keeps her company, so she's not totally alone with it. It is nighttime, and this might reflect about subconscious fears or unknown items of your soul. Perhaps this fool began his journey out of loneliness, out of wanting to discover other people. Maybe there is a deep yearning behind him that drives him onward. Let's look at your next card. This is the card of the past, and it speaks about the landscape you have just crossed. Your card is the Death. This is a very strong card that says that you have been leaving something behind. A phase of life, a relationship, job, or maybe just an aspect of yourself. Whatever it was, the cards are saying to you that it came to a necessary end. Some endings are needed and timely. So embrace this ending and look towards new dawn that is already shining. Whatever you left behind when you started this journey, it was the right choice. Next, let's take a look at your future. This card speaks about the first landmark that is rising ahead. Your card is the Princess of Wands. Now there is several ways of interpreting this card. Sometimes it is a person, so there might be a person of these qualities waiting for you in the future. But this card can also speak about you in the future and the qualities that you are becoming to when you are walking on this path. The Princess of Wands represents the Page of Wands in other decks. She speaks about fierce new beginnings, where you have a lot of energy and drive behind your steps. If we think about this reading as a journey or a path, it means that your next steps will be full of energy and zest. The next card is How Others See You, but since this is a Wanderer's Path reading, I would frame this card as how fellow travelers see you in this path. Your card is the Three of Cups. This is a card of social gatherings, get-togethers, companionships, and planning things together. But in this deck, the tone is differing slightly from the traditional view of the card. You can see two figures, and I've always seen them as two dancers, working together, bringing harmony, joy, and enjoyment. But not necessarily lovers. They could be colleagues, friends, or even brother and sister. In either case, this is a harmonious card, and it tells you that the people around you see your spirit in a positive light, where you are doing what is important for you, and they are benevolent towards it. The next card is How You See Yourself, and framed in this reading, this could be the story you believe about your journey. Oh, nice! A major arcana card. This one is the Hermit. The Hermit speaks about turning inwards and lighting the lantern for yourself as well as for the others on the path. This is good. The next card is the card of hopes and fears, and it speaks about the dreams and storms within you. Your card is the Four of Wands. Traditionally, this is about a celebration. The four wands form pillars of a wedding tent. But in this card, I see the card in a bit different light. There is a dancer in the picture. She's balancing, surrounded by flowers and those wands that represent energy and drive. To me, this is a card of harmonious living, finding a balance within yourself and knowing how to harmonize things. In a position of hopes and fears, this could speak about inner need of tranquility, meaningful existence, beauty, and balance between work and rest. Let's turn your final card next. This is the card of final outcome, or where your road carries you, unless you make drastic changes in your direction. Your card is the Star. The Star is a card of healing and rest. It speaks about rejuvenating waters and the night time where sleep and rest take place. The Star is also about guidance. It is a spiritual card where the guiding star leads you onward on your path. You could think about traveling in the darkness, but not in a scary way. Rather, you're traveling through dark landscapes, but still guided by a luminous guiding star. You will be okay as long as you remember the rest. The water element in this card speaks of rejuvenation, rehydration, and of sacred pause. Enjoy the sacred waters, rest, and rejuvenate. Now, looking at this reading as a whole, let me draw some overall conclusions. You might think that since you started with a card of rest and you ended with a card of rest, this would be a period of passivity. But I would say everything but. Rather, it speaks about a journey, but a peaceful one, perhaps a journey of self-discovery and looking at your own past and future, looking at your own mind and your own way, and arriving to a new conclusion. The rest at the beginning is like resting after heavy work, but the rest at the end of this reading is more about spiritual resting. It's more about retreat, especially when you have the Hermit card on your reading as well. But not all is nighttime and resting. You have the Princess of Wands in the future, which speaks about sparks and fire, new ideas, beginnings, and energies. So it's not that bad. Guided by the balance and harmony of the Lover's card, leaving behind the necessary end of the death, and harmonious balance and beautiful collaborations coming in the future, this is a beautiful reading, and I'm happy to leave you with it. This concludes our reading, group number 1. Thank you so much for walking beside me, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Out of the 3 Fools, I feel that this one reflects the archetype of the dreamer most clearly. A bright figure dressed in ornately patterned clothing, full of energy, movement, and optimism. Notice, he hasn't taken the step yet. Maybe he will, or maybe he's still deciding. This is the classic Fool, and he might reflect a love of the familiar, or a deep trust in what's always worked. His gaze is upward, not down. He looks to the sky, toward hope, visions, and inspiration. He carries a small satchel, just enough, or perhaps everything he needs, hidden inside. Also the potential and the possibilities. A white rose in his hand, a symbol of innocence, purity, and openness to the unknown. The little dog leaps at his side. Companion, spirit guide, or maybe even a playful nudge towards awareness. Mountains stretch behind him. Tests still to come. Growth still ahead. And the yellow background is bright, even intense. It suggests clarity, trust, and conscious choice. Let's lay down your cards. I will explain you the meanings of the locations of the cards as we do the reading. Let's start with the present moment. Your first card speaks about the current situation where you are now in. It speaks about the motivation behind this journey. and about the point where you are now. Your card is the King of Pentacles. It is a card of prosperity, security, and authority. He speaks about maturity and groundedness, working hard and doing what's necessary. But in this position, in this reading, where we're looking at the wanderer, it can also speak about the situation that the wanderer is walking away from. Perhaps the conditions around him were too stifling. Perhaps there was an authority figure that he wanted to leave behind. Perhaps he wanted more freedom that the King of Pentacles could ever give him. Being a king of the material world, this can speak about starting to see the world beyond the material limitations. Perhaps the wanderer thinks that there is more to this life than just acquiring material goods. Or perhaps this King of Pentacles is you. Perhaps you have been working towards the material goals and tangible things until this point, and now you're wondering, is this really all? Is there more to life than this? How interesting. Let's turn your next card. The next card is called the Crossing card. It usually speaks about an obstacles that you need to deal with before you can move forward in your path. Your Crossing card is the Four of Cups. This is a card of turning away from propositions and not enjoying what is offered to you. This card could speak about a spirit of indifference, or maybe things that used to bring you joy don't do that anymore. This is, in a way, a good crossing card. It means that there are changes that need to happen in your life in order for it to be fulfilling for you. And that is a good place to start from your journey, because it means that there is a motivation behind your steps. Let's have a look of your next card. The next card is the position of the mind, or your higher self, or your thoughts and ambitions. Your crowning card is the Ace of Pentacles. This card echoes the need for change and the want of something new to begin. Aces are always beginnings. When it comes to Ace of Pentacles, it usually speaks about new business endeavors or other material pursuits. But it need not necessarily be only about money. It can be about a new project, like building a house or some other dreams that you have that you are yearning to materialize. So there definitely is a need for change and a want for something different. But let's take a look of your next card to see more about the situation. The next card is a shadow card. It is a reflection of things that you don't want to integrate to yourself. It might be a thing that you have been trying to avoid of or trying to move away from, that you don't accept as part of yourself. Oh, interesting. Your shadow card is the Magician. Now, there is many ways to read this card, and I will give you several in case it means different things to different people listening to this video. First, the Magician can be seen as a trickster, a street performer who's doing tricks and using sometimes a little bit dodgy methods to get what he wants. But the Magician can also be seen as an archetypical magician, a strong, powerful figure of esoteric wisdom who pulls from above brings it to below. He materializes the thoughts and ideas from the ether and brings them to reality as tangible things. This card always reminds that you are the magician. You have the tools in your use. There are no excuses not to use them if you really want something, and you really need to do the magical work and the physical, tangible work in order to bring things to reality. Let's look at your next card, and this is a card of the past. It speaks about the landscape you have just crossed. Let's have a look. Your card is the Ace of Swords. Now, the realm of swords is connected to the realm of thoughts and ideas. But traditionally, it also used to be a realm of sorrows and hardships, sword being an item of fighting and strife. So I'm leaning towards untypical explanation of this card. I say that this is a card of leaving a strife behind, a sword that has potential of cutting you. Maybe you needed to walk away from a situation so that it doesn't hurt you. If you have done so, that is a fabulous thing that you have done, because it means that you have protected your boundaries and refused to be cut by those who don't care about you. If that is the case, congratulations and well done. For some of you, it might of course be a great big idea in the past. Maybe it is tied to the Ace of Pentacles, meaning that in the past this was but an idea, and now you're contemplating on bringing it onto material level with the magician's skills. Interesting. Let's take a look of your future. This card stands for the first landmark, rising ahead. Your card is the Eight of Swords. Generally, this card is considered to be a card of negative thoughts, of self-imposed restrictions, of victim mentality, or even mental imprisonment. The figure in the card is tied and blindfolded, but it is also shown that his or her binds are quite loose, and she could probably struggle away from them if he or she would so choose. The 8 swords around the figure almost form a fence, but not quite. There is a way out. And finding a way out and taking responsibility is the message that I feel that the cards now want to tell you. Whatever situation you are in, you are not as powerless as you think you are. And the cards might be shaking you up a little. If you think that you can't, you definitely can't. But if you think that you can, you probably can too. In many cases, if you think that you can, you probably can. Drop the act and the excuses and forge your own future. It's a bit tough love, but then again, I guess we all need that every once in a while. The next location is titled How Others See You. And in this spread of the Wanderer's Path, it speaks about how fellow travelers see your spirit. Let's turn your card. Your card is the World. The World is the last card in the major arcana, and it is often represented as a spirit free of material restrictions. A dancer in a blissful state, ready for the new incarnations. In a position of how others see you, this card could be interpreted as you being a free-spirited soul. An outsider might see that you have a lot more freedom in your life and choices than you yourself see. Now there is a wreath of laurels around the dancer, and this traditionally signifies victory. So the other people around you might see you quite successful in your situation. Next, let's take a look about your inner world, because the next card is how you see yourself. So this is a card of the story you believe about your own journey. Your card is the Four of Wands, and this is a card of feeling welcome, of celebrations, coming together, and teamwork. This card speaks about success and prosperity, but also of stability. The four pillars are often seen as the poles of a wedding tent, meaning that there are positive celebrations coming. Maybe this card speaks about coming home or reunions. It is a generally positive card about outcomes and the view of yourself, but I would like to point out one interpretation for it, and that is that since this is a card of community, it might speak that you would benefit from reaching out to others and sharing thoughts and ideas. The next card that we have is the card of hopes and fears. It speaks about the dreams and the storms within you. Let's have a look. Oh, how interesting. This is the Eight of Cups, and generally speaking, this is a card of walking away. Especially it's a card about walking away of emotional situations, because being a card of cups, it connects strongly of your emotional life. So this might be a thing that you both long for and you fear. Perhaps long for because it might speak about a need of being alone to reflect things and to select your own path. But it can also be a fear because it might speak about having to leave something important behind, or perhaps having to turn yourself to the world and to the emotional currents in your life and favor more solitary, more hermit-like life. I can definitely see why this could be both fear and a hope, because the card has symbolism of walking away, and that can be a contradictory thing. It can be both positive, walking towards your own path and destiny, or negative, leaving something behind. Let's turn your last card, the card of the outcome. This is the most important card in the reading, and it speaks about where the road carries you next, unless you make major changes towards the direction you're going. Your card is the Tower. Now, the Tower speaks about moment of recalibration. Generally speaking, the Tower card speaks about an event in life that forces you to reconsider and perhaps even rearrange your psyche. It is a card of ego loss, but the archetype behind the Tower card is that the tower was built on an unshaky ground, and when a storm or act of God, like the lightning in this card, has hit it, the tower comes crumbling down. But the crumbling is never accidental. It speaks about a hidden flaw that was within the tower as it was built, meaning that eventually it was going to fall down anyways. The spiritual meaning of this card is that after a cataclysmic event, there is a period of rearranging, rebuilding, and doing it better. Now, I don't want to leave you just with this card, and the way I was taught is that you can have up to 3 explanatory cards. So I will ask about this tower moment. So, my guides and helpers, please give us some more information about this tower moment. Your explaining card is the Three of Swords. Now, just as a glance, you can clearly see that this card is usually depicted as a heartbreak. Generally speaking, it's a card of sadness, heartache, unhappiness. It can have tones of sorrow or upset in it. It is a card of emotional setback and sudden strikes towards your heart. I would read this as the tower moment connecting to your emotional life. And that is natural, of course, because the relationships that we have in life are our greatest teachers. And the most significant karmic lessons are usually taught in relationships. Notice that it is way too straightforward to say that this card symbolizes a loss of relationship. It can be that, of course, but it's never restricted just to that idea. It just speaks about emotional setback that is going to shake you. And shaking after an emotional event is natural and welcomed. That is how we process things. That is how we live through the emotions and integrate the events. But I feel that I would like to draw just one more card for you to see what's coming and to look a little bit through the veil to give you some guidance and help. Your second guiding card, extra card, is the Ace of Cups. Now, this is a wonderful note in the end, because it means that whatever cataclysm you're going through, whatever emotional turbulence might come to your way, the final outcome, the final result after that, is a new emotional beginning. Whatever it is that you had to go through, it will lead to a new start, a new possibility, and a positive learning in your emotional life because of this. The trials and tribulations are never for nothing. They are places for us to learn and reflect and become better human beings after them. After this event in your emotional world, a new beautiful beginning will happen. Phew, what a reading! Starting from a situation where you wanted to walk away from that was not satisfying you, leaving the past behind you and reaching towards the new beginnings. When it comes to your future, you have more to say about it than you give yourself credit for. And there are many positive things to await in the future. Even ending with this dramatic final card of the Tower and clarifying it to be about emotional matters, the final outcome in this reading was, after all, the Ace of Cups, a new emotional period of enjoyment, joy, and fresh new beginnings. This concludes our reading, group number 2. Thank you for walking this path with me, and I hope to see you in the next reading. A bold, stylish figure in vivid color, bursting with forward energy. Everything about him says movement, confidence, momentum. This is the only fool in the trio who's already stepping off the cliff. His gaze is turned skyward, lost in visions and in the future. But he isn't looking where his feet will land. His posture is strong, arms open, and the artwork is full of playfulness, bold choices, and a total break from the tradition. Look closer. The mountains behind him are shadowed and ominous. The sun shines, but the light is faint next to the violet shadows of the cliffs. Only a few scrubby bushes cling to the ground beneath him. And here, a rare detail. The white dog is biting his ankle, not playing, not guiding, but pulling him back. A spirit helper, perhaps, trying to warn him. But this fool, he doesn't stop. Joyfully ignorant, maybe, but utterly self-assured. There's nothing stopping him, not setbacks, not shadows, not even the dog. All right, let's lay out your cards. I will be laying out your cards now, and I will explain the positions as we turn and read the cards. All right, the table is set. Let's begin. Let's turn your first card. The first card is a card of the present moment. It speaks about things in your heart and things that affect you in this very moment. Your card is the Devil. Now, the Devil is a great teacher, and he reminds us about resolve and about passions and following animalistic instincts. The Devil is very strongly a card of control, both in a sense that you need to govern your own instincts and in a sense that there might be outside forces governing your life in a sense that is not serving your higher good. What do I mean by this? I mean that while being in connection with our animal side is definitely not always a bad thing, in this case it might be a reminder that there is more to life than just following your primal instincts. If you are now a fool in your journey, you might feel that outside influences or forces beyond your control are restricting you. But this card is here to remind you that don't give up and don't give away your power. Let's turn your next card. The next card is called the Crossing card, and it speaks about an obstacle that you need to overcome in order to advance on your path. Your card is the Page of Pentacles. Now, this is a card of earthly matters, of solid beginnings, setting goals, and developing a plan. When it is a crossing card, it reminds you of these practical things that you need to do in order to actually bring things into reality. The Fool only advances in his initiatory path if he stops being a forever dreamer and begins his journey. This card is here to remind you that decide what you want and go for it. The next card is your Crowning card, or it is sometimes called the card of the ego, the card of the higher self. It speaks about your ambitions and thoughts and your future goals. And your card is the Seven of Wands. And right from the get-go, I feel that this card speaks of action. It speaks about heroic adventures and conquering your own inner challenges. Traditionally, the Seven of Wands is a card of protection and being on defensive, but I feel that this hero in this picture is conquering his inner monsters, fears, and doubts in order to proceed in his journey. All right, let's see your next card. Your next card is the shadow or subconscious card, and it speaks about things that you don't want to integrate on your journey on yourself. It is often a root cause and a hidden motivation that it would be good if you shed some light on it. Your shadow card is the Queen of Swords. She is an archetype of communication. If you look at her card, she holds the sword peacefully, but her hand is at her chest in a gesture of free discussion and talk. This card might be a reminder that communication is the key. You can't expect other people to understand your situation unless you communicate what you need and want. Perhaps there has been a difficult conversation that you have been avoiding. Now there is a curious detail in this card, because she is clearly looking towards the card in your past. See? So let's turn the card of your past and see what's there. This is the card of the past. It speaks about the landscape you have just crossed. And from your past, we find the Knight of Wands. This is interesting because court cards you can interpret in two ways. You can read them as a person, or you can read them as an archetype. Reading them as archetype is more common and it often fits better. But have a look of it. Could it be a person? And looking at your reading so far, I could even ask that, could it be a person that inspired you in the past? Because if we look at your path, it would be easy to see that the knight in your past, the Knight of Wands, would be inspiring you to do the heroic deeds in the Seven of Wands. Now we also see where the Queen of Swords is looking at. He's looking at the handsome, brave knight. If you want to read this more as an archetype, the Knight of Wands speaks for energy that has a lot of drive and a lot of potency in it. And maybe there is a gift or a message from that time of your life to the present moment. The Knight of Wands spear is pointing towards the devil, so maybe he has some knowledge on how to shoo away the control that is holding you back at the present moment. Let's turn your next card. Your next card is the card of the future, or I would say that in this reading where we are walking on a path, this is the first landmark rising ahead. And your card is the Six of Wands. Now this is a lovely card in this position, because if you think that you were inspired by the knight in the past and you aspire to be the hero as the Seven of Wands as your crowning card, that the outcome of your struggles is victorious in the future. And this is lovely because it means that your work is bearing fruit. If you're struggling now, if you're working on something, keep going. The next card that we are going to turn is the card of how others see you. In this reading, it speaks about how fellow travelers see your spirit. Your card is the Sun. Now, the Sun is one of the loveliest cards in the whole tarot deck. It speaks about a period of joy, clarity, warmth, gifts, and maybe, perhaps for some of you, it speaks about meeting your inner child and perhaps going on an adventure with him or her. Now, this is the card of how others see the situation, so at least from their perspectives, everything looks pretty sunny. Let's have a look at your next card, which speaks about things more from your perspective. This is the story you believe about your own journey. Let's turn your card. Your card is 5 of Swords. This is a card of conflicts and battles where there are no clear winners. In this position, I would say that it speaks about that from your perspective, the situation isn't quite as sunny as it seems. Who won, who lost, is not quite clear. You might have won the battle, but you haven't won the hearts around you. But this card can luckily also speak about overcoming challenges and stress. As a fool on your journey, this might speak about a period of his or her life where there was a stormy weather for one reason or another. Let's see your next card. Your next card is in a position of hopes and fears. Your card is 9 of Cups. This is a card of wishes coming true, of realizing dreams, happiness, cheerfulness, joy, and fulfillment. Cups are a suite of emotional themes, so number 9, almost complete number 10, speaks about celebrating, entertainment, recognition, abundance, and prosperity. So the upright meaning of dreams realizing and wishes coming true is easy to understand. But what is the fear part of the card? For that you have to reflect your own life, but here is a guess. She is alone in a table that is surrounded by cups. So there would be a lot of space in her heart, in her house, to welcome other people in. Perhaps the shadow of this card is loneliness. Now we have only one card left, and this is the card of the outcome. In this reading, where we are walking on the wanderer's path, this card speaks about where the road carries you next. Unless, of course, you do major changes in the direction you're going. The card of your final outcome is Queen of Cups. Now this is a wonderful card in the end because it speaks about being in tune with your inner world and learning about new emotional things. So wherever your journey takes you, whether you succeed in your travels or whether you stumble hardly on the ground after the very first step, the end result is, in the end, that you will be more balanced and more in tune with your inner world. Whatever you face in your journey, you will learn from it. And not just learn. This is a card of security and warmth and sensitivity, of kindness, happiness, and intuition. Creativity and artistry also connect to her. So there are many things that await you in your future on this path. So, welcome the watery elements of the Queen of Cups and her intuitive guidance and counsel, and drink from the cup that she offers. Life is good now, fool. Welcome it. And where does your path lead? In the end, you will be emotionally wiser, kinder, loving, and more balanced than before. This concludes our reading, group number 3. But the path doesn't end here, only this glimpse of it. Carry what spoke to you, leave what didn't, and step forward with clearer eyes. This reading, The Wanderer's Path, was created while living and traveling in a van. I hope that the feeling of journeying, both through life and through the world, carried through into the video. Until next time, travel well. And thank you for walking a little while with me.